just quickly check.
Are you happy with the sides?
Yeah, you happy with the sides?
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to be this side and you want me that side or whatever.
I hate that it's mirrored.
Oh, we're live.
Right, let me just check that the sound is working and then... Hello. Here we go.
It's weird because I don't know.
It's the delay, isn't it? I'll just double check that the sound is good. Oh, bloody ad. Okay, there we go. Hi everyone. Okay, who have we got? We've got no one here at the moment.
Yes.
Oh no, we have 5. We've got 5 people.
Oh, okay, cool.
Hi, welcome everyone. This is my sister Laura. But if it's your first time landing on this channel, my name is also Helen. And we're going to take you through a little bit of a chat around mindful movement and ADHD and some points to think about in your practice or things to potentially try or
some considerations.
Some considerations, yeah. And we'll have time for questions at the end. So if you have any questions, just pop them in the chat and lovely Laura will answer them. So Laura, you've been diagnosed with ADHD last year.
Yeah.
So you've had a little bit of an experience and journey through that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to come into your points that you
Yes.
made?
Okay, so
I think you had around 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah-ish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8.
Cool.
So number 1, I feel like, so just to say, this is just stuff that, because everybody experiences it differently, but this is just some things that I've noticed and found when I've tried to practice. So number 1, I feel like this is in no particular order as well.
Yeah, then.
So I think that music is really important. I think it's a really important component because obviously, like, engaging our brains in something is like, I mean, it kind of leads into my next point, like, environment's really important, and like, I don't know, the sensory experience is quite important. So for me, the music kind of engages more of the senses into the practice that keeps me focused.
And you said that obviously not for everyone, all of this is like not for everyone obviously, but you said quite intense music like is helpful for you personally.
For me personally, and I think that's maybe quite common for people, like for neurodivergent people with ADHD or whatever, but equally like not for everybody's different, but I find that the more intense, because like that was the other point I think I made last time we spoke about this, we experience emotions, well, we experience everything very intensely. That's kind of a problem. So it kind of matches that, if that makes any sense. So like the intensity of it, I don't know, there's something quite comforting in that. I don't know.
Laura really likes metal and like intense stuff like that, where it like builds up and then you get a release, and she feels like that helps.
Yeah, so like I've been to like
a
a doom metal yoga class, which was really good, like, because it was like and I think there's quite a lot of people that find like metal and yoga together works really well because of the intensity. So yeah, me personally, I think like the more intense the music helps. Like when you go to a yoga class, I think, and again, everybody's different, but I find if it's, usually in yoga you get like this like twinkly, like calming music, and it's a little bit like
background noise.
Yeah, it doesn't engage me enough, basically.
Yeah, I understand.
And there is, just in general with ADHD, there is I don't know, a hack, I guess, that the more senses you can engage in what you're trying to do, the better. It kind of helps you to hold your focus. So that can be applied to anything.
That's a good point. I kind of share lots of Spotify playlists, so if you want any of those to like accompany any of your practices, I will leave a link to them down below. I don't like the same music as Laura though, so there's not going to be any metal. I'll get you to make a metal yoga playlist.
Okay, I'll try. Yeah.
Cool. So that's a good point.
Cool. Yeah. So music is a consideration, basically. Just think about that if you want to try and like get into it.
I like the next point.
So then the next point is environment, which might be, so some people are like, oh, that's kind of obvious, but I think, like I was saying to you earlier, I think some people are like, oh, I want to try yoga. Like they go on, they chuck themselves into a class, or they go and find a YouTube video or whatever, and just do it. But I think it pays to really consider your environment. So, like, for neurodivergent brains, particularly ADHD brains, like our brains do a lot, like we process a lot of stimulus all of the time, and that's what distracts you, that's what wears you out and exhausts you and stuff like that. So, you know, the less stimulus you can have coming in, the better. So things like dim lighting, like as dim as possible, like a quiet space as possible. Obviously, like, you know, that's a luxury for some people depending on where you live.
A
but
tidy
like
space is a luxury.
Yeah, you know, all of that kind of stuff. I just think it's worth taking that bit of time to consider it. Yeah. So yeah, I've said like.
Wow, we've got 18 people joining us. Hi everyone. Hi Amanda.
Apologies for the state of my hair.
It actually looks really nice on camera.
I just didn't wash it. So yeah, like our brains just process a lot of information. So if you can get that down, I think it just helps. And also it's a sensory experience, isn't it? As part of mindful movement. So
do you feel like making it, I don't want to, like almost ritualistic is beneficial? Now, like when you start a chain of events and then it kind of syncs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I guess like, you know, another thing for ADHD is novelty. So that's, you know, it's quite a novel thing to like light some candles and like draw your blinds and stuff like that. Like make it an event, I guess. Like make it a thing.
That's what I love about it.
That's the main thing. I generally do that and then just lie on the floor. Like, don't really do any like moves or anything like that. Yeah. So yeah, and then teaching style. So I think this is a really important consideration. So when you're finding a teacher or you're finding what works for you, so I said this to you earlier, like obviously it's going to seem like I'm biased because she's my sister, but genuinely, like there are only very few teachers that I've got on with, and it's because of the style. Because I find that like when Helen teaches and when a couple of the teachers have instructed me, they kind of, and again this is just me personally, but it's just something for you to consider maybe, they kind of anticipate what you might be struggling with or what your body might be doing, or like how your body might be reacting to certain stuff. And I find that really useful because like with ADHD, our brains are like already doing too much, like we're already processing a lot of information all of the time, and again that's why we struggle to hold focus and do things and whatever. So it for me, it takes out the work the way that Helen instructs, because she'll sort of say, oh, you might be feeling this if you just like move this way a little bit, or like or like I don't know, you kind of and for me I'm just like, I don't even have to think about it. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll just move my elbows slightly to the left or whatever it is, and then I can feel the benefit of the movement without having to do more of the work. And I know like for some people doing the work is part of it, so then again that is important in considering your teacher or your teaching style. But just for me, that's something I found that I've been able to like feel the benefits of doing the mindful movement. But yeah, my brain hasn't got to think, right, okay, how do I work this out, kind of thing.
Exactly. I feel like this is kind of what I mentioned a little while ago on YouTube, is that I do talk a lot in classes because I want to give you all of the information or like all of the options, and that's not for everyone. People like the quiet or they like to figure it out themselves, and that's fine. But I think my natural teaching style is to give you all of the options and tell you all of the things. So
yeah, and I think I like that because, and again, like I mean, it's a bit of a stereotype, but we get bored easily. So like we need, like, that keeps us engaged, because if our brains could easily wander off.
Yeah, it brings you right back. Hi Deborah, hi Tiara, welcome. Next point.
So I made another one, but really want
We're
to know
doing
what I
great
said
for
there.
time, by the way.
Okay, that's good. I feel like I'm running through them quickly because I know that I talk a lot.
If you want to hear more in depth, Laura can do like a 3-hour live stream.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we did when we like spoke about it the first time.
Yeah, pretty much.
So if you want to request that, just comment below.
Well, you can start a YouTube channel. Maybe yours will just be live streams.
Yeah.
Like 6-hour live streams.
Yeah. So the other point I made was, if it's not working, stop trying. I know that sounds quite cliche, but I think we have a tendency, because of certain trauma, particularly if you're late diagnosed or late identified neurodivergent, ADHD, whatever, is like we just push ourselves too much because we think that, because we're told our whole lives that we should be able to do things and we should be able to do it a certain way. So it's about like accepting that, and this can be in terms of like the type of yoga you're trying to do, or even going to and doing yoga or whatever, or just like a particular move that you're trying to do or whatever. Like if it's not working, you know, when you've tried enough, like validate yourself and be like, that's not working for me, that's okay.
Definitely.
So yeah, we have a lot of, again, I mean, I say late diagnosed, but I think probably people that have had a diagnosis when they're young too, we have a lot of negative messaging that we're doing things wrong because we do things differently or whatever. So there's a lot of trauma in that. So we could be triggered by just not getting something, like, and mindful movement is meant to be like the opposite of that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I kind of struggle with rigid alignment and stuff like that, because it just doesn't fit my brain, so I can't teach it that way. And also, actually, someone messaged me yesterday. She said her whole life, I think she said she's coming up to 50, she's got ADD, and she said she just felt like stupid her whole life, and that made me feel really sad, because everyone's clever in their own way or at different things, and it's such a shame that you've, like, so many people get told that they're doing it wrong, or they're stupid, or they can't pay attention, or da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, traumatizing.
It is traumatizing because you're getting negative messaging externally, but then you turn that inward as well.
Yeah.
And put a lot of pressure on yourself. So yeah, it is, like, I just made a point about, like, you know, it's okay to do things differently. It's okay to do modifications. I know you often like offer a lot of different like options and stuff like that. Don't keep pushing yourself through it, basically.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not getting it, you're not getting it. That's okay. Like,
if you hate it, it's fine.
Yeah.
What, I don't know if this was covered under that point, but for example, like with the classes that I tend to teach, or mindful movement that I tend to teach, it is very like free flowing, in that it doesn't have a look, like there's no certain way to do anything ever. But then, so it's like, for some people that's amazing and you like that element, but also you really like powerlifting, where it's very much like methodical. So it can be like two ends of the thing that you find.
Yeah, I mean, the classic ADHD thing is we're just like walking contradictions. Like, it's too much, it's not enough.
Aren't we
it's
all?
Just, yeah, exactly. So yeah, like for me, I like the lack of rigidity with when I'm doing things like yoga, but like, you know, on the flip side of that, and that's why it's so different for everyone. So that's why these are just considerations that I've noticed that you might want to think about. With like powerlifting, I like the fact that it's the set way of doing it. I go in, I do the thing, I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
I just follow the whatever, and then that's it.
Which is why like Ashtanga yoga might suit some people that like that, because it is a set menu, and there's this way or no way. That's how I see it anyway. I know it's not that, but like it's a little bit more structured, which some people might get more comfort from, which is good.
Yes.
Hi Talia. Hi Diane. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, you have ADHD also, and Helen's teaching, so it's perfect for me as well. She's my favourite YouTube teacher. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Wow, we've got 21 people.
Woo! Hello.
It's a party. It's
more than 8 people.
More than 8 people. It's a party.
Okay, so yeah, listen to yourself. Find what works for you. All of that stuff.
All the things that we try to tell you all the time.
All the time. So time worked on as opposed to progress.
This is a good one.
Is really important. It's something. So I have an ADHD coach. I would highly recommend. And something that I think a lot of people use this anyway because it's basically the Pomodoro Technique.
I love it.
So it's basically like don't focus on your progress in like, this is going to be applied to anything, so like a project or whatever, focus on how much time. So with yoga, don't think, I've got to do 3 hours of yoga each week and I want to get to doing this particular move or this particular flow or whatever. Set yourself like, okay, today I'm going to do 20 minutes of yoga and do the 20 minutes. It doesn't matter what you did in that 20 minutes. You did 20 minutes of mindful movement. Like that is like, you committed your time to that and you should like validate yourself for that. So yeah, like it's just like not focusing on progress, it's focusing on time.
Yeah, and making the achievement, even like even congratulating yourself on small achievements, because I can't remember what thing it was in, but it's like make your habits really tiny, like tiny, like you could just do a minute of breathing or even 30 seconds if that even sounds too daunting. Like yeah, some time is better than no time.
And one of the things that I like about the end of your classes is that you usually, I don't know if you, I'll be honest, I've not been to your class for a while. but
got free membership as well.
I know, sorry. I just like laying on the floor. Just want to do an hour of Sebastian.
Just an hour of tummy time.
Yeah, exactly. Just sit me in child's pose and I'm happy. You always say like, thank yourself for taking this time.
Yeah.
And that is, I think that's really important. So that's the kind of point that I'm making, in that like, even if you just did 10 minutes, you set aside 10 minutes, like thank yourself for doing that for yourself.
Even if you're self-practicing as well, you don't have to get a prompt from a teacher for that.
Yeah, exactly.
We're almost through these, and wow, you're racing through them.
I know. I thought, well, I think I was just like hyper aware that I talk so much. So
Tiara, the emphasis on exploration and observation of the body, not replication of an instruction, is something I've found super helpful in practicing yoga. Absolutely. And it just makes it more fun and enjoyable, rather than looking at a picture and being like, I have to make myself look like that, which
I don't know, maybe this person would love or be interested in somatic movement.
Yes, I feel like anyone that does my classes would be interested in somatic movement. But yeah, hopefully we'll do some training in that and I can offer it. Otherwise, there are some great channels on YouTube, which I will link in the description when this recording goes up.
It's very interesting in general, somatic stuff.
Absolutely.
So the next thing was just a point to be aware of, really. So it's just that there is kind of strong connections, or basically hypermobility is quite common in neurodivergent people, which is just something to be aware of, because I think a lot of people don't realise that they're actually hypermobile, because people think, oh, it's just being really flexible. It's not.
Massively, yeah.
And so like you can be quite prone to injury. So again, it kind of goes back to, if it's not working and you're pushing yourself too much, like listen to yourself, listen to your body. Yeah, it's just something to
a consideration to
so
take yeah, if you think you might have hypermobility, definitely have props and pillows around, and never I don't think anyone should ever push to 100% anyway. I'm very like a average kind of average kind of area. I'm
do
like
the bare minimum.
Do like 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10.
Do the minimum you got to do to get by. That's how I live my life.
Exactly. Because yeah, any more than that, I don't think it's good for anyone all of the time. So
so the next point I made was about switching tasks. So people with ADHD, because regulating attention or focus is something that we struggle with. So that can switch between like hyper focus and like getting distracted and things like that. So a problem is switching tasks. So if we're into something or engaged in something, it's very difficult to quickly move to something else. That's why we struggle with lots of things, or can struggle with lots of things. So it was just, again, a consideration more, I guess I was making consideration for Helen when she was planning like her classes for maybe neurodivergent people, is that, I mean, this also, again, is not everybody, but just if there's a really like intense move or a tricky move or doing something and your people are really engaged in that, to then move from something else, like it's a consideration to think about how you move out of that into something else, because it's very difficult to just quickly
abruptly take you out of it, or
exactly
try and make it flow into the next one. Or I was just asking you before we went live if you're maybe a teacher looking to also like help people with ADHD, think about your prompts as well. Like, okay, in a minute, like if you're in a yin pose, for example, say, okay, you've got a minute here. So kind of preempting that it's time to wrap up the task almost, so people can like prepare themselves that they're going to be moving on to the next thing, rather than be like, okay, next. Because I think that's annoying for anyone. But
yeah, and we like to know, I mean, I think a lot of people do, but I like to know what's coming. Like, that's helpful to prepare yourself, I don't know. And also, like, you know, that's why people with anxiety and stuff like to have a set plan and know. So
yeah, 100%.
So
I've only got a couple more points left, I think.
Oh yeah, I kind of made an additional point in that. Well, I kind of made it a second ago, but on the flip side of that, novelty is also very important. Well,
I love
for
this
people
one.
with ADHD. So while I'm saying, think about how you switch tasks, it's not always easy for us to just like quickly go into something else. For some people, we really like novelty. So being like bish bash bosh, something new. Oh, that's interesting. That's exciting.
Yeah,
that could also work. So again, it's just running theme throughout all of these are just finding what works for you, like, and following that, and like not being like, I have to do it in this way.
Yeah.
Like, just have a feel around and listen to yourself and trust yourself.
I liked the novelty one, and some of like the two of the most popular videos on my channel are like the more novel classes. So there's a fun block flow, which is where I use a yoga block in like the unconventional ways to use a yoga block, which people loved, and then a strap one, which again, using a strap maybe in a non-conventional way. So like even things like that can be little bits of novelty. Even like you know when people say, oh, I got myself a new gym outfit. That can be the novelty, I guess.
That could be the novelty, yeah, exactly. So yeah, think about like what kind of classes you want to go to. You probably maybe need to switch it up. Like some people really like routine and doing the same. Like I like that when I go to the gym, but some people need like a different fun element to add. Or like again, kind of goes back to the environment side, like, you know, what outfit you're wearing and stuff. Like make it a thing.
Cool.
One more point.
Oh, one more point.
It was just about floor time.
Oh yeah,
because we all love tummy time or floor time. We just love floor time.
Can you talk to us about that? Like, because I don't know if it's just us, or maybe if you can let us know in the comments. Do you not just laying on the floor?
I think a lot of neurodivergent people that I speak to, we love floor time because it's very grounding. That's what it's about.
I think it's like the solidness and the stability when you feel like you're a little bit like all over the place.
There's also like I'm gonna like not really explain this very well, and I haven't really properly. I read into it a while ago and then I've forgotten. But there's also like a theory around like how neurodivergent people tend to not know where their body ends or something. Like we can't. So often, like I always sit on my feet, and apparently it's like that's like to like feel that I'm there, like subconsciously. I've always done it.
I remember you saying about that.
And like, I guess also grounding. It's like I've got that pressure.
And I guess that ties into what you were saying, because like hypermobility, like clumsiness, kind of go a little bit hand in hand. So if you feel like you're solid and stable on the floor, it might be helpful.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of comforting. So like it's just a very neurodivergent thing to like sit weirdly. Like there's loads of memes about it.
Is there?
Sitting weirdly on chairs. It's just the thing. I remember like when I first had the realization stuff like a year or so ago or whatever, and I went out with one of my friends that was also a neurodivergent ADHD autistic, and I just got into the pub and like just sat with my feet like there, like, and I was just, and that's what it was doing. I was just like, oh my god, how did I not realise sooner? Like,
I don't know how people sit in a chair normally.
exactly, that's what I mean.
I think you're weird if you sit in a chair normally.
So yeah, like floor time is, I guess, like sort of linked to that. It's just, it's grounding. It's like a moment of calm.
Yeah.
I love floor time.
Well, I guess any sort of, well, not any sort of, but the practices that we share on here are all kind of floor based anyway. And I might start recording them without a mat as well, because I'm starting to feel like my mat gives me these confines that I don't want to be in. So that's kind of why I wanted to get rid of the mat, but I feel like people sometimes are comforted by the mat. But for me personally, when I self-practice, I don't use a mat because...
Well, we went to a somatic movement class the other day and I ended up not on the mat. Did you notice?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, luckily, like, it was very chill and I felt very comfortable. I was thinking, if I was the teacher, I'd be thinking, lol, she's not on the mat.
Was that when we were laying down?
Yeah. Because I wanted to be on the floor.
That's so funny.
It was quite a thick mat and I liked being on the floor.
Yeah, I think if you're into this, definitely look up somatic movement in your area. Go to a physical somatic movement class. It will change your life. I loved it.
It was really good. It was really, really good. I loved it. We'll do again.
Talia, yes, I love sitting on the floor with my hands on the floor, just feeling the earth stability. So grounding, helps me calm down. Yeah, totally get that. Maverick, is she Laura, ma'am? Yes, this is Laura. You must have joined a bit late, but welcome. Tara, love being on the floor too. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. We've got 25 people watching on.
Oh, hi, 25.
Wow.
Hello to each and every one of you.
Yeah, we've been going 26 minutes, so we'll start to wrap it up here. But if you do want any longer chats, if you have any questions at all, just pop them in the comments and we'll maybe both go through them at some point this week. And I am going to do a ADHD specific class. Obviously anyone can do it, but just with these considerations, because obviously Laura has lived experience, so taking a little bit of your brain and putting it to a class. So I'll get that up as soon as I can.
I might model in that class if you get lucky.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
You're like, oh, no, thank you.
No, if you want to, definitely. I mean, this took us ages to plan this one in, so...
Yeah, that's true. We'll see.
Deborah, Helen, I've struggled with OCD, another form of neurodiversity. I'm 51, love watching your vlogs before and after a practice. It helps me with reality and grounding. Oh, I'm so glad. Wow, thank you for being here, Deborah. That's so kind. And Diane says, floor time helps me get grounded. It almost kind of mutes the distractions. Ooh, that's interesting. Mutes the distractions.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, that's probably, yeah. Do you know what? Laying on the floor to me is way more calming than if I was sat trying to meditate. I have to be like lying down.
Yeah, and I think probably it's to do with like inner child stuff as well.
Do you think?
Yeah, because like that's what you do when you're a baby. I don't know.
Actually, yeah, one of the first somatic movement class I went to, we cradled our own heads. Did I tell you about that?
Oh yeah.
Because it's like...
Did we do that in the class? No, we didn't.
I can't remember if we did, but she was like, think about when you last had your head cradled. You were probably like, can hold your head up.
Nice.
So like this can be really calming for people. So yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe try that.
I feel like I had something else to say on floor time, but I mean...
I have one more thing maybe to ask you. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Right.
So I've spoken to Laura before about how, like, obviously in some yoga classes, like a yin yoga class or even shavasana at the end, stillness is encouraged almost. But for maybe people with ADHD, fidgeting is a thing, isn't it? Like, I mean, I've fidgeted fuckloads.
Hair twiddling.
Like,
yeah.
So yeah, don't feel bad, or if you're doing it wrong, like if you do need to fidget or adjust, would you say?
I think so, yeah. Like,
I can see how it'd be really exhausting to try and not fidget when you really want to naturally do that.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't talk about stimming, but
yeah, I mean, if you don't know what stimming is, I would recommend looking into it and trying to explore with your natural stims and like let them happen, which is why somatic movement was the somatic movement class was so good for me because that was like encouraged. Like it was, you know, like you say, that fidgeting and that moving around how you need to move and what feels good, like that's encouraged. So like, yeah, in terms of like stillness, if you need to sway or shuffle or whatever it is you need to do, what feels good for your body, like do it.
So yeah, if you haven't maybe explored stimming so much, would you recommend people do a bit of reading on it and then recognise their own natural? Mine is, I like to pull my hair all the time, and I try not to.
Well, like, you know, that people can have like specific stims and stuff, but like dancing is stimming, and like drumming is stimming, humming is stimming. There's like lots of different ways of that it happens. But yeah, I would just recommend like exploring those, trying to do it without shame a little bit more, because obviously like fidgeting is, you know, everyone was told off at school and stuff for stop fidgeting.
That's a whole other conversation.
Which is a whole other conversation. Once again, trauma. So yeah, but I would happily like do another chat on like maybe some of that stuff as well.
Well, yeah, definitely. Someone is saying please a longer chat, so maybe we'll do a longer one.
Well, you asked for it.
Oh, you asked.
I can only apologise.
I think the live works well because it's really nice to get people's feedback. So thank you so much for that, and also it means I don't have to edit like a really long conversation.
That's why. Again, like you've got to remove the barriers with ADHD. You can't, like, it's not happening if you've got too many of them.
Yeah.
So that's why we were just like, let's just do it live, because editing is a whole other job.
But thank you so much for everyone for joining in, and I hope you found it helpful. Look out for the class that I will get planning and up. But obviously you can apply these things to any of my classes on YouTube or on the membership. So yeah, maybe just have those in mind. Have you got anything to add?
Happy mindful moving.
Yeah, cool.
and
when is your
or happy stimming?
Happy stimming. And when is your YouTube channel coming?
TBC. It's been TBC since probably 2013.
That's okay though.
But you know, I have ADHD. That's why. So it will come one day.
Cool.
This is my debut.
This is the debut. You'll definitely be on again, I'm sure.
Yeah. This was fun.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Did you? Because you were nervous, weren't you?
I was not quite nervous, yeah. But this has been okay.
Yeah, and I think it's a good amount of people. T Brooks, sad I tuned in too late, but love your channel and flows. Thank you, T Brooks. You can catch up the recording when I think it might be up now when I press end. But yeah, thank you for coming. And I'm teaching a yin class tonight at 7 p.m. UK time. So if anyone wants to join for that, definitely go check out My Mindful Movement. It would be lovely to have you. It's 75 minutes this evening. I mean, you don't use your membership, so.
But I do like yin.
So yeah.
So maybe I will come.
Maybe you will come. Okay, cool. I'm gonna end it here. Goodbye.
Bye.
How do we end this non-awkwardly? Okay, bye now. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. And
I was like, when's she gonna press